Hello, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to talk about celebrating your goals, celebrating your wins. If you have been around, if you've been a one-on-one client, a member of my community, or even joined my weekly live chats, which those will be back very soon once I am done taking care of my new little girl, I like to celebrate your wins. And I always kick every single one of those sessions off with what was one win that you had from the last week, month, whatever it is. But I often get asked, how do I actually celebrate? Besides just sharing with you, Laken, or the community, how can I celebrate my wins? So in this video, we are gonna talk about when to celebrate and how to celebrate your goals. One quick thing before we jump into it. I want to start by saying you're probably not celebrating enough. None of us are. We are not good at it. We immediately want to move on to the next thing. So there is no such thing as too much celebrating. I just want you to keep that in mind as we go through it. All right, so let's start with when. When do you celebrate your wins? Well, if you ask me, you can celebrate all the time. Like I said before, we're not celebrating enough, but let me give you some concrete things to think about as you are picking times to celebrate your wins. The first one is to celebrate when you have done a consistent action for a set number of times. What I mean by that is that you decide, I'm gonna celebrate when I do this particular action this many times. And when I say consistent, I don't mean every single day in a row. I mean a set number of times, however long that takes you. I actually got this idea from another YouTuber that I watched who used to do this when she was tracking her food with Weight Watchers. She would say, I'm gonna celebrate when I track my food for 30 days. Now, it doesn't mean that she had to do it 30 days in a row, and if she missed a day, she went back to zero. No, it meant when she hit 30 days of tracking, then she would celebrate. Sometimes it took her 35 days, sometimes it took her 45 days. It doesn't have to be that you are doing it every single day, because life happens and we are going to miss days, and I still want you to celebrate when you've done it a certain number of times, however long it takes you to do that. There is no timeline limit. It's not when I do it this many times by this date. No, no, no. It is when I do it this many times, period. And pick a number of times based on what makes sense for what you're working on, something that's going to be motivating to you. And when I say motivating, I mean both don't make it too short, but also don't make it too long. Now, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I'm not trying to make this super complicated, but I just mean, like, if you are gonna be working on something daily, 30 times sounds like a great goal. Maybe 20 times is a good place to start. Don't say when I do it 100 times. But then on the flip side, if you're doing something daily, don't say when I do it 3 times, although that's worth celebrating also, but make it a little bit longer to keep you motivated. Now, if it's something that you're going to do once a week, maybe the celebration is when I've done it 5 times. So that might take you 5 weeks, might take you 6, 7, or 8 if you miss a week. Either way, the big takeaway here is you are celebrating when you've done it a certain number of times, regardless of timeline. Number 2 is milestones. And these could be small milestones, these could be big milestones. There is no right answer here. It really depends on how your brain processes the concept of milestones and what goal it is that you're working on. The key here, the big key here, is that you have got to pick those milestones before you start. Because if you think that your brain is going to see those milestones once you've gotten there, like, oh, I just hit this milestone, I should stop and celebrate, you are not going to recognize it. You are going to be so focused on what's next, you are going to forget how far you've come. So you've got to set that milestone that you're working towards in advance. Now, this works really well for some goals that have natural milestones built in. Are you working on an online class or a school, right? One semester, that's a milestone that you can celebrate. This can also be easier for more chronological goals, like when I finish these steps, then I've hit that milestone and then I celebrate. But any goal can have a milestone that you can find. If you have a goal that you're struggling to find a milestone, I want you to come comment below and I'm gonna help you figure one out. The last win that I wanna talk about is whenever you're proud. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. So there are different goals and action steps that some of us are gonna struggle with more. And so when we accomplish those, we're gonna be super proud and super excited. And then there are some that we're really good at. So when we do those things, we're like, well, that really wasn't that big of a deal. So I want you to think about the things that you struggle with, the things that you would consider a weakness. And whenever you do those things, I want you to be proud and I want you to celebrate. For example, when it comes to work-related things for me, I love speaking. I love filming videos. I love giving presentations. I love chatting with other people. Those things are not big moments for me in terms of like being proud. Like I like doing those things. Technology is not so much a big thing for me. So when it comes to like changing something on my website or figuring out a funnel, email funnel, those kinds of things, when it comes to those, I am really proud when I accomplish those. And for me, those are the moments that I need to celebrate those wins because that was difficult for me. So I want you to think about whatever goal that it is. What is it that you struggle with the most? Where are your weaknesses? Those are the moments that I want you to decide that you are going to celebrate and you are going to have some sort of moment for accomplishing that. All right, those are the wins. Let's talk about the how. How do we celebrate? Because this is probably the question I get asked more often is, how do I celebrate my wins? Number one, which is one of my favorites, and that's to tell somebody. Tell somebody what your wins are. I understand that sometimes this can feel awkward. Sometimes you feel like I'm bragging or it feels weird for me to tell other people my wins. I want you to think about a time that somebody in your life, somebody you care about, came to you with a win. And you may not have thought of it as like they're telling me a goal-related win. No, they're just telling you some good news in their life. How did you feel? Did you feel like, oh, that person is bragging to me? Or were you excited and happy for them? That is how your loved ones are going to be as well. So tell somebody what your wins are. Couple of things to remember. First off, you can always come tell me, come to my DMs, come to my inbox. I am always here to listen to your goal wins. I love hearing about them. The community is a great place for this. Obviously on every community call, I kick it off with wins. I have you share wins to kick off every single call, but share within the Facebook group, share in the comments of the YouTube videos I post, share your wins with the community. And then the other thing I want you to know about telling people or telling someone is it doesn't have to be just one person. You don't have to have like one person that you tell all your goal related wins to. Now you might have your person and you want to share all of your wins in goals and life and all of the things with, and that's awesome. But you could also have different people for different types of goals. For example, I have friends that also own businesses. Those are the friends that I go to when I have a business related win. I had a friend who was planning a wedding at the same time as me, and then subsequently was also expecting a baby at the same time. That's who I would go to with wedding or pregnancy related wins. And I'm assuming next step is newborn and mom related wins. So find a person for each of your specific goals, and it could be different people that you share those wins with related to that specific goal. The next one, which is kind of similar, is to write it down. But so you're telling somebody, you're telling your journal. But by writing down your wins, you are putting them down on paper and you are making them more real. Feels more real once it's down on paper and you look at it. And this could be as simple as you jotting it down and then throwing that piece of paper away. I'm not saying that you need to write it down and like hang it on your fridge for your entire family to see. I'm also not saying that you have to write down every single win. This might be just the big wins that you write down. I'm also not saying that you need to do this every single day. I know there are some of you that do that, right? You have a calendar and you write down a win every single day, and that is awesome. I love that. And if that sounds like an idea that might work for you in terms of celebrating, go for it. That's not something that I have ever found works for me, probably because the other methods work better for me. I mean, going back to tell somebody, that's literally what I do. I tell you, every month I tell you about my goals. I talked in the video from last week, which normally would have been my goals video slot, that this is the first time in almost 5 years I'm not uploading a video about my goals. I tell you my goal related wins. So writing them down is not really a how that I feel like I need to do for my goals, but if that is something that aligns more with you and you like that, try writing down one small goal related win every single day. The next one, which is a lot more common, the one that we always talk about or hear about, which is to buy yourself something. And I absolutely think that that is still a wonderful way to celebrate, which is why I'm including it in this video. But I'm gonna get a little bit more specific on things to think about when it comes to buying yourself something to celebrate your goal related wins. I know that it can be really hard for some of you, myself included, that if there's something that you want, a new book, a new set of pens, whatever it is, a lot of the times, some of the times, again, depending on what the limit is, we all have our own limit, we'll just buy it for ourselves. And it is hard for us to say, I'm gonna save that thing as a celebration or a reward for when I accomplish whatever it is that I accomplish. Go back to section 1 on the wins. So here's a couple of things to keep in mind for this type of a celebration, things that I have implemented to help myself with this because I also struggled with this. The first one is to have the reward or the item related to the goal. So have the thing that you're trying to purchase directly correlate to what it is that you're working on, because that's gonna help you keep it more at the forefront of your mind. A couple of examples of this is buying a new book when you hit a certain reading goal, or buying a new workout outfit or a new pair of sneakers when you hit a certain workout goal. My most recent example, although I still am gonna use this example because it's really great, even though I didn't actually get to implement it because it was given to us as a gift, was to buy a Roomba when our apartment was done with furniture. Like when it's not, our apartment's still not done. When we had bought all the furniture we wanted to get for this new apartment, then I was gonna get a Roomba as the reward for going through that process. And some of you might be, this goes back to what some people are good at and not good at. Some of you might be like, you needed a reward to furnish your apartment. Y'all, I don't like furniture shopping. I'm not a big home decor person. It's not enjoyable for me. So that whole process, especially because we were buying like more long-term nicer pieces, just felt a lot more like a chore than enjoyable. That is me. That is my personal experience. You might not experience it that way. I definitely did. So for me, getting the Roomba was my motivation to get that done, because as soon as I got that done, I got to buy the Roomba. Now, somebody did get it for us as a gift, and so it turned into I don't get to set up the Roomba until I got the apartment done, but that is an example that I'm still gonna use because I like it. The second thing is to make it something that you're upgrading. So it's not a new toy or a new object that you don't have. It is something that you already have and you're getting an upgraded version of. The Roomba is another great example, right? We had a vacuum that worked. It was just kind of a pain in this, it was a corded vacuum in this giant apartment. I say giant very loosely. Coming from New York City, this apartment feels giant. To you, living in a house maybe in the suburbs with a yard, it's probably not that giant. But we had a vacuum that worked, right? So the Roomba was an upgrade. Same thing with sneakers. There was one time I was going on vacation that I made a deal with myself that if I worked out 3 times on vacation, I could get a new pair of sneakers while I was there and throw away the ones that I brought with me. I didn't need them. I had sneakers that worked just fine, and I wasn't gonna go necessarily out of my way to go to that store to buy new sneakers until I hit the goal that I had set. And the other thing to keep in mind, and this might feel obvious, is to make the amount that you're spending proportionate to the length of the goal, right? A Roomba is a very expensive reward, but I knew it was gonna take me months to get all the furniture and get everything set up. The sneakers may not have been the best example of proportion because, you know, working out 3 times to get a brand new pair of sneakers, that's probably not quite a comparison, but I also kind of needed a new pair. But anyways, I still also keep that example, even though I probably could come up with a better example. But like if you wanted a new book, don't make it a year-long goal, right? That is a long time for one new book. It's probably not gonna motivate you. You're gonna just buy the book along the way as soon as you wanna read it. So make buying a new book a shorter time frame that makes more sense for your goals and your life and your budget, etc. Another like bonus idea from here that I've never actually personally tried, but I have a community member that tried it and it worked for her. And then I've been sharing it with other members and other one-on-one clients, and they're like, yeah, that works for me too, is buying yourself the gift card. So if there is something that you want, buying yourself the gift card for that place. And so you're spending the money now, you're buying it, and you're not tempted to buy the thing because you've already spent the money on the gift card, but you don't get to spend the gift card until it's time to celebrate the reward. I thought that was a very, very good idea. Again, I haven't personally tried it yet, but I want to. And then the last how is to do something. And this could be similar to the buy yourself something, but you're buying yourself an activity, right? Like a massage or a mani-pedi or something like that. But the other ideas are to do something that you just like as a reward. And it could be like you're saving a YouTube channel, a video of your favorite YouTube channel as a reward, or a new episode of a podcast as a reward. It could also be that you're doing something while you're working on the goal. I had a one-on-one client once who had an audiobook that she could only listen to on her stationary bike. So that's not exactly the same as like a celebrating reward, but it was a reward for getting on the bike and that she got to listen to that specific audiobook. It could be just anything that you like to do. Take a break, play with your planner, do some sort of hobby or crafting. And again, similar to the buy yourself something, have the reward be proportionate to whatever it is that you're working on, right? If you are setting a goal to do something this week and then you get a break on the weekend, or you're setting a goal to do something for 6 months and then you're going on vacation, but have the proportion make sense, but doing an activity that you like to do as the reward, as the celebration for accomplishing whatever it is related to your goals. So I hope that sparks some ideas for you when it comes to celebrating. This is something that I feel very strongly about, because the more that we celebrate, it might feel silly in the moment or like it's not helping, but it is. Because when we celebrate, we acknowledge our progress, which gives us the momentum to keep going. And again, it may not feel that way, but I promise that it does and it works. So I want you to focus as we go into the new year to think about how you're gonna celebrate your goals as you start to set your New Year's goals. I know if you're watching this when the video goes live, you're like, Laken, it's October, I'm not setting my goals yet. I know. I just want you to keep it in mind. And in fact, in my goal planner that I've created, there are going to be sections where you're gonna plan out your celebrations in advance. You're gonna pick those milestones, you're gonna pick the when and the how before you even get started. So if you want to focus on celebrating more and you haven't picked a goal planner for 2024, my 2024 version is up and available for purchase. So I will leave that link down below if you wanna check it out. Otherwise, that is gonna be it for this video, and I'm gonna go celebrate finishing my filming for the day. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every week focused on helping you achieve your goals. Thank you so much for watching. Let me try that intro again. 30